All right, guys, how's it going? Now, if you're new to my channel, right, you might not know that I'm not feeling too well at the moment. I've been under the weather for about a month. Just started some antibiotics yesterday. My regulars are on it. You'll see them in the comments. They'll be saying, you should be resting. Don't be making video. I can't sit and watch television all day long or lie in bed. All right, so I'm here and I want to continue as best as possible. I might not do any live streams today, but I just can't sit around, guys, doing nothing. I hate it. So I have got today's Spanish daily newspapers for you. Well, football papers, sport papers, if you like. And we're going to talk about what's in these. Now, before we proceed, I did a video last night about some interest in the club, right? Someone that apparently wants to buy Liverpool Football Club. I did a little follow-up on that today. Well, it's actually a considerable follow-up. In today's morning briefing, you'll have to skip into it a little bit. It's quite a long briefing. I think it's an hour long. But I provided a lot more information in that video to the people that, you know, watch my videos and don't just look for catchy headlines, right? So if you're interested in that video I did last night, there is a follow-up in this morning's morning briefing, all right? So you might want to take a look at that. There was only one shitty comment left on that video yesterday from some numpty that said, well, there's no news in this video, it's just pointless. Do you know what I mean? What that translates to is that's someone that's a little bit immature and that they think that, you know, everything to do with like people sniffing around the club is like, you know, big Arab, you know, money, oil money and all that, you know, and it's all exciting and fireworks. They're going to come in and they're going to push FSG out and they're going to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions and all that. They're those sort of people that want all those kind of content. You're not going to get that content around here, right? Because we're grown-ups and we'll talk about the real stuff. And it's significant that someone behind the scenes is trying to raise capital, in my opinion, to try and buy Liverpool Football Club. Now, whether they succeed or not, I have no idea. I personally don't think they will. If you watch this morning's briefing, you will understand why I've got that opinion. I will make a video in depth about it when I feel a little bit better, because I think it will be a long video. And the more I talk, the more I start to need to cough and shit like that, right? So I got rid of that numpty. It is an important video, but it's just not sensational. It's not clickbaity. Do you know what I mean? Like, someone in the background is trying to do something, right? And I'm sharing that with you guys, but only as an advisory, like, just like, be careful, because you might see these rumors crop up, or if you see rumors linking us, you know, with the Middle East this week, or you know, other American businessmen, I would say that's not what I was talking about. You need to watch this morning's briefing if you've got time, all right? But I'm sorry, around these parts, you know, we don't make videos to try and entertain you. We just tell you what people are claiming behind the scenes. You form your own opinions as to whether or not you believe them, just like I do, right? But we ain't got time for, like, if you come on here and leave a smart comment, we'll just get rid of you. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's it. You still think you can comment, but only you can see the comment. Nobody else can see it. Zero tolerance for idiots around here, right? So we'll stick with the way that we do things around here. Now, with regards to these Spanish football dailies, my friend went and got these for me. And then I did go to the cafe this morning. I went up to the cafe. I just thought, go and get some fresh air. I'm just back. I've been and translated them. There is a little bit of coverage in those today. And I can tell you right now that in this video, we'll be talking a little bit about Trent Alexander-Arnold. He is mentioned in one of the newspapers today. We'll be talking about Xabi Alonso and also Ruben Amorim. Do you remember him? Aspas as well. Do you remember Aspas? We're going to be talking about him. And also Red Bull. Don't forget Jurgen Klopp recently agreed to go and work for that organisation. I think he starts from January, right, officially. But there is Red Bull sniffing around a football club, purchasing a football club, right? Now, there's also a bit about the Mestalla. So I'm sure you want to just know the bits about Trent, okay? Now, I have 3 newspapers. They're all in Spanish. I've translated everything, and I have to consult a few bits and pieces to see where we are and what we're starting with. So we want sport. Now, Marca yesterday was the one that did the front page Trent Alexander-Arnold coverage and 2 pages inside. big front image of, on the front page, a big picture of Arnold, the inside, another picture of Arnold. And if you didn't understand Spanish, and if someone was just showing you the front page and the inner pages, you would think, holy shit, that's a big write-up. There was hardly anything in that article about Trent Alexander-Arnold, other than the biggest claim was that Liverpool are already aware that Trent will not renew his contract, right? And that Real Madrid might go for him if they can get him on the cheap in January. And the article also listed other candidates as well, right? But despite Trent taking up the front page and the inside pages, the images or whatever of him in his Liverpool kit and that, it just looked worse than it actually was, right? So Marca is the Real Madrid mouthpiece, and Real Madrid basically tell them what to write. Okay, so the rivals, for example, these two, this is the pro-Barcelona newspaper, maybe they wouldn't get an exclusive, or maybe they wouldn't have certain information that Marca would have direct from Real Madrid, right? So Marca did this big write-up about Trent yesterday, well, appeared to be a big write-up, certainly a headline, front page, but these papers, you think they would have played catch-up today, wouldn't you, going, there was an article yesterday, these claims. They're not going anywhere with the Trent stuff, really. Only this one, very briefly. Now, this is the pro-Barcelona newspaper, right? So, I can tell you right now, if we can find the piece for you. And I like to show you, to validate. We had someone in the summer come on here when I was doing the newspaper reviews in the summer, and they said, you have to show us, do you know what I mean? Like what you're reading, because you can be reading anything. Like he can fucking understand what it says. Anyway, for validation, just at the top corner there, it's the 18th of October. And there's the headline. Do you see that headline there? Obligated to sign in January, basically. And it says I'll try again. They, meaning Real Madrid, blame injuries, but knew Alabas recovery would take time. But they knew the Alabas recovery would take time, right? Okay. So this is the article, and Trent is mentioned in here. I don't know where the fuck he's mentioned, but I know he's in there because I spotted it. But you're gonna have to believe me. There's where are you, motherfucker? It's like doing one of those word searches. Alexander Arnold, yeah, Alexander Arnold. He's in there. Look, can you see that there? Look, Alexander Arnold. Right. So what does it say, chubs? Right, I'll let you know what it says. So it's very brief, and it just says, obligated to sign players in January, basically. They need to. Real Madrid, blame injuries, but knew Alabas recovery would take time, right? They, right, are willing to sign Trent Alexander-Arnold, taking advantage of Liverpool's possible need to negotiate a fee in January rather than lose him on a free. So that's all it says in the article, is they need to strengthen, centre-back, right-back, preferably in January because they need cover for the season, and they do reference TAA, but only by saying that Real Madrid are willing to sign him in January if Liverpool could be persuaded into doing business rather than lose him on a free in the summer. The suggestion, they kind of like what we're seeing in the Spanish coverage at the moment, is that Real Madrid have an interest in him, but they're not going to spend big money on him. I've maintained that for a long time, you know that, right? And said as we get later into the year, we'd probably start to see this stuff come out in October, right? And, January, yes, he's free to negotiate a move to Real Madrid. And they might be willing to give Liverpool some money, but they won't give a lot of money for him. You know what I mean? And then, so if they go for an alternative in January, maybe that closes the door on his, potential move there if that's what he wanted. There's no one anywhere suggesting or claiming or can back up that that's exactly what he wants to do. And the fans online are falling into this like anti-Trent vibe at the minute, and it's pretty natural. I think I remember saying it about a week ago, saying I'm getting a bit fucking serious, he's not saying anything, positive. So there's people online are getting a bit hatred towards him, saying nasty things and shit. Basically implying he's a turncoat and he's not loyal and all this. But there's actually anywhere that suggests he's going to go. All it is these like big headlines yesterday, and what do people say yesterday? Oh, he's off, that's it, he's off, without even knowing what was really in the articles. So Trent's free to negotiate a move in January. He'd rather go somewhere in the summer, right? Because then he gets the signing on fee and his agent benefit. That's the most lucrative option for them. However, if he really did want to go to Real Madrid, and you knew your only chance was January, then you're still gonna go for it, aren't you? But then Liverpool would have to agree to it, and Liverpool they're gonna ask for money rather than losing for nothing. And it's how much Real Madrid would be willing to pay. Real Madrid, there are alternatives, or at least two other alternatives that keep being mentioned alongside Trent. So, just in case you've missed my point here, this article in the Pro Barcelona newspaper says that they have to sign in January and they are willing to sign Trent and take advantage of Liverpool's possible need to negotiate a fee in January rather than lose him on a free completely next summer. Okay, I think I've said this already. There's no major coverage in today's rivals to Marca. The journals now, the other publications and journals, they're not making a big deal out of anything. Only the Pro Real Madrid newspaper did that yesterday. And you could say, well, that's because that's the one that's got all the info done. They've got a great relationship with the journalists, which obviously they have. But nobody else is picking up on it today, other than that sentence, really, that's in that article. And I'm just not convinced by it all. Do you know what? First of all, I couldn't give a fuck if he goes or not, to be honest with you. I would understand if you wanted to go, but I'm not hearing anybody at Anfield flapping, right? So we will see what happens as we go along. So, was there anything else in this newspaper? Yes. So that's it all on Trent. If you want to clear off now, you could go now. We're going to be talking about some other stuff, though. I do apologise for the cough. Now, in here, Xabi Alonso, the surprise candidate for replacing Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. Obviously, we know all about Xabi, and obviously before we had Arne Slot, he was a candidate to become the Liverpool manager. We don't want to open up that again and go over all that. The article talks about Ruben Amorim being the favourite for the job. Ruben Amorim, again, obviously linked with Liverpool, looked like he could get it at one point, but it all went tits up, right? Hugo Viana, the incoming CEO at Manchester City, is expected to bring Amorim in. Hugo Viana, strong connections to Sporting and everything. So that'll be why they're linking that in. Great manager, decent manager or whatever. Certainly one of the names being touted as a possible replacement. But this article goes on about it being Alonso being a surprise candidate. And to be honest with you, that's all it says. It goes into like what he's achieved, what he's done. Obviously, Alonso is Spanish, so that's why they're making a big deal out of him in the newspapers, although that is the Barcelona newspaper. So that's that one for you. What else have we got? Aspas. Who remembers Aspas? I think, are we doing Aspas next? Who are we doing? Yeah, there he is, Aspas, man. It didn't work out for him at Liverpool, but an absolutely outstanding player. I've rated him before he came to Liverpool, and I've rated him after he left Liverpool. It just didn't work for him. Basically, the headline, the absence of Aspas, their forthcoming home game against Real Madrid, he's going to miss that, basically. And they're saying about how important he is. The best player in Celta Vigo's history. At 37, he remains their undisputed leader. And yesterday, he was awarded Club's Player of the Month for September, so he's still doing the business. He's suspended against Real Madrid. I touched on this recently. I think they had a couple of players suspended. They appealed one, but didn't appeal Aspas' suspension. Talk about how he imposes his presence in the side, knows how to read the game like no one else, and always has a touch of talent that allows him to decide a match, to influence a match. Talks about how his sending off or whatever was unfair, and now that Celta Vigo are left with a difficult situation because he can't play against Real Madrid, which is this weekend. I think, I don't know when that is. I'll probably find out in a minute. Talk about people that can replace him and stuff like that. You're not going to be interested in that, but I just wanted to mention it for the simple reason that Aspas, obviously left Liverpool and nobody probably thinks about him or cares about him anymore. I do. I keep an eye on players, especially ones where I think he's a really good player, but it didn't work at Liverpool. I want to see what he does next. So he's considered their greatest ever player. Anyway, uh, Celta Vigo will play Real Madrid on Saturday, okay, at home. It says here Real Madrid is looking to maintain pressure, but you don't want to know all that, do you? So, right, now, another one from this publication, which, I don't know, you might not consider it important. I find it's not important, but I consider it interesting, at the very least. And this is this one here. Red Bull negotiating with Paris FC to buy the club. Now, of course, Jurgen Klopp is going to work for this organisation, and this is what he would be involved in this kind of thing, I think. So Red Bull negotiates with Paris FC for the club purchase. Paris FC is in talks to sell the club to Agachi, which is owned by the Arnault family and Red Bull. The aim is to elevate the club's status. Red Bull plans to invest 200 to 300 million euros to help Paris FC compete with PSG. And it talks about the stake that Red Bull have, and Agachi and all this. I didn't know anything about Agachi, but I did a bit of research. It's not mentioned in the article. It says it's the holding company controlled by the Arnault family, led by Bernard Arnault, who is the chairman and CEO of LVMH, Moet, Hennessy, Louis Vuitton, the world's largest luxury goods company. Agachi serves as a key investment vehicle for the Arnault family, holding significant stakes in major luxury brands, such as Christian Dior and LVMH. And the family collectively controls a substantial portion of LVMH's capital and voting rights through Agachi. They've been in the news for entering these talks, negotiations to try and buy Paris FC, with plans to invest in the club alongside Red Bull. The move is part of a broader strategy to expand their influence in various sectors, including sports. Now, the reason why I think it's interesting is obviously Jurgen Klopp's going to work for Red Bull, right? And he's going to know about all these things and stuff. And isn't it interesting that there seems to be quite a bit of attention being shown in French football clubs? We can think of... Can you hear that? It's Ryan Babel. Do you remember what he said? Do you remember when Ryan Babel said he wanted to bend me over and me up there while feeding me a cheeseburger from behind? Not very nice, is it? He comes across every now and then, does Ryan. Anyway, so, do you remember FSG sniffing round French football clubs? Trent Alexander-Arnold himself linked with buying a French football club. And here we have further interest in French football clubs. Obviously, Red Bull involved with all sorts, but just for those of you that don't know, Paris FC is a French football club based in Paris. We're leading League Two. I have no idea what it is now. The aim of this investment, if it goes ahead, is to elevate the club to a new level, with Red Bull providing expertise in sports development and talent scouting, think Jurgen Klopp. Arnault family is one of the wealthiest in the world, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we don't need to know about all that, but that is something that's in the news regarding Red Bull. We should keep an eye on Red Bull to see what they're doing. French football is interesting, isn't it? FSG, Trent, these now, certainly seems to be some interesting French football clubs, as Rafa Benitez would say, for sure. So, and the final thing I'm going to touch on for you today in Marca, the Real Madrid mouthpiece, is, if I can find it for you, all about Trent Alexander-Arnold's pal. That is, of course, Jude Bellingham. I need to find out, there's a lot of information on this, but basically this is to do with, I've got to find it. It'll be one of the first things I checked this morning, so let me find it for you. Here we go. The ambitious plan of Adidas with Bellingham, right? this is talking about his own stamp, his own branding, you know, the JB or whatever. Talking about, you know, his own brand and cultural impact. A strategy that embraces the meteoric rise of the Englishman in the world of football after landing at Real Madrid last season. He's become the visible face of Adidas, the German brand, one he has worn since he was 13 when he first received a pair of Predator boots. And they are now in the search for the new idol. And basically, it's all about branding and how they're going to make Bellingham into this big deal. Do you know what I mean? Adidas is not going to let this opportunity slip away, having prepared an ambitious plan for the new star of the football, you know, brand or eternal identity stamp JB. You don't need to know about all that. They've gone beyond the simple creation of a logo and aim to create a precedent, a first move that will serve to grant Bellingham with his own stamp within the company in honour of the feat that only Messi had achieved before. And it goes on to talk about how he's a nerd when it comes to football culture. When I grew up, I watched all the boot ads, bought magazines, showing the latest campaigns. Always dreamed that one day I would be the guy. And he said, Adidas is all I've known from the beginning of my career, even at the Birmingham Academy. After the power shown by Nike with Mbappe, Vinicius, Haaland, blah, 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 the German brand does not hesitate to put on Jude's armour to compete for the present and future of football. His celebration with arms open wide could follow in the footsteps of Michael Jordan's Jumpman used by the competition. Both strategies are based on creating a unique logo, promoting the player as the central figure of the brand and creating a lasting cultural impact. In a world dominated by marketing, Jude has laid the first stone to dominate it. It's not just a game, but a business. It's not just a game, but a business that has become an essential component for success. And then it goes on to talk about Belly Gold. The German brand presented the first Predators designed in collaboration with the English footballer named Belly Gold, the new boots, which he will debut, I think, this weekend in that match against Celta that Aspas can't take part in. Elegant black and gold. They also feature the new JB logo on the iconic foldable tongue. The German brand has also launched exclusive Gazelle shoes for the occasion, and the second collection of Adidas originals developed for him. And basically, you know, another bit was, you know, it goes on to say JB to compete for the present and future of world football. You may be not interested in that, but what I would say here is Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to be aware of all this, right? This is his pal, you know. Imagine, you know, you don't know what their relationship's like, you know. For all we know, Bellingham might go, well, you know, Liverpool's a great club, you know, you're from there. We know we're mates wherever we are. Do you know what I mean? Like, stay with Liverpool, do. But he could also be one of them friends that's saying, come to me, look what I'm doing, man. Adidas are all over me. They're making me into a brand. You come here, you know, like, and if it works out for you, man, imagine the potential. You just don't know what's been fed into his ear. And that's why I found it a little bit interesting, you know, because Bellingham is not just a great footballer. He's creating this excitement and marketing and more money and things like that and glamour. And maybe, you know, if you're Trent and you're thinking, well, I'm not really going to win much at this club because these owners are happy finishing in a Champions League place. My friends out there doing it. I love to go over there and see them. We've got our families, blah, blah, blah. You can understand why the lad would be tempted. You know what I mean? But I do think that Trent is, you know, it would be hard for him to leave Liverpool. Some people say, yeah, really hard. But I just think that he has that Liverpool connection, you know, like, and once, if he left, especially if he left on a free, people would be furious, you know, like people criticising Zubimendi for staying loyal to Real Sociedad, but we would like Trent to be loyal to Liverpool Football Club. So the point I'm trying to say here is we don't know, you know, what he is saying to his pal, you know. Maybe he's not just saying, hey, come and play in La Liga, or, you know, come and be at this glamorous club with me, you know. Or is he saying things like, look what's happening since I've come here, Trent, look what they're doing, they're making me own fucking boots, they got this, they got that, I'm going to be fucking minted, pal. Fam, innit, fam. You know what I mean? So they're just little things to think about. I will say that, you know, nobody that I'm aware of, you know, is flapping about the contractual situation at Liverpool of any of these players. We're told there's an impasse, but that's You know, that was Paul Joyce of the Times putting it out there, who, in my opinion, will be doing that to assist his friends, you know, Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes, because it puts a bit of pressure out there, because it makes the fans think, oh, the players are being greedy and all that. There's always a reason that you're reading these things, right? You've just got to work out, who, you know, why they're saying it, why they're doing it. So, but nobody, you know, nobody's coming to me flapping about the contractual situation. I think they're a bit under pressure. But if you were to ask me right now, and I'm allowed to change my mind, you know, every single day, my opinions, you know, they change, not flip-flop like a div. You can only have an opinion based on what you know, right? So tomorrow we might know something else, or we might read something and go, ooh, don't like the sound of that, you know? So my opinion right now is all free sign. I do. I just think that. I think if Trent goes to Real Madrid, he's a nobody at Real Madrid, really, in my opinion. I'm not really sure he's good enough for Real Madrid. I know you all think he's fucking great, but they won't allow him to go missing and make those mistakes that he makes at Liverpool. They just won't. They'll hang him, and it could really backfire on him. He stays at Liverpool, he becomes captain. You know, he's a superstar if he stays at Liverpool, but he's a nobody if he goes to Real Madrid, possibly. But you can also understand if you're Trent. Like, we as supporters, I know you get the occasional fan comes in and go, we couldn't have done any better, we've got the best owners in the world and all that. All I ever think about is, yeah, I appreciate they've done good. They're not the worst owners, they're not the best. During Jurgen Klopp's reign as manager of Liverpool Football Club, if we'd have had different owners, I think that he would have been far more successful. Not spending £100 million on fucking players left, right and centre. There's times when he was denied players in the 20 to 30 million bracket when we really needed someone to strengthen us, you know. No, you've got to sell before you do that. And I'll never forgive them. I genuinely think Jurgen Klopp would have been far more successful at Liverpool. So when you get people coming out saying, but we've won this under FSG, I go, we would have won a lot more, I think, if the boss had been backed. But that's another argument, you know. The point I'm trying to say here is, if we as fans, those of us that think like that, you know, that think they're happy finishing second, third, fourth, which I think they are, right? Because to finish first, you'd have to spend a lot more money to try and finish first, but you're not actually making much more profit in all of the marketing and everything that comes in it, the shirt sales, blah, blah, blah. It's not worth it for FSG, because they'd be spending more to you might have to spend 200 million to make an extra 70 million from finishing first and second, if that makes sense. It really isn't in FSG's interest to try and win the league. They just need to finish second, third, fourth. That's it. That's their whole business model. And if we know that, what do the players think? They're not thick as pig shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if you're a footballer, you're like, yeah, we'll do well. We'll always be in there with a chance and that. But I can understand why, if he thinks Liverpool are not ambitious enough for him, fair play to the lad. Maybe he does think he's the next Maradona or Pele, different positions, I know. But what I mean is, maybe he does think he's all that. You know what I mean? I personally think he's believing his own fucking hype, to be honest with you. If he goes to Real Madrid, I wish him well, you know, if he conducts himself properly. But I know there's a lot of negativity, you know, because of what people think is in the Spanish press, what the LFC clique of journalists want you to think. But I don't see it. I'm just getting a message. One moment, please. So, I think I've gone over everything in the newspapers that I wanted to bring to your attention. If you're interested in that club sale, well, it's not a club sale. If you're interested in this, what's going on behind the scenes, the video I made last night about someone being interested in buying the club, watch this morning's briefing, but it's a very long video, so I'm sorry about that. But, you know, if I wanted to capitalise and do views, I would have done a big, juicy headline, just says today's date, morning briefing. I didn't even know I was going to talk about it, to be honest. So, that's it. I will make a video about that stuff. Maybe I'll do it today, I don't know. Maybe I will, but just from talking, I can feel my voice going a bit. So, I need to go. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative, a little bit different to what's out there. Please, listen, if you're new to my channel, you're very welcome around here. Do you know what I mean? But these videos are like, they're made for people that I consider my friends, that have been with me for decades online, you know. This YouTube channel is just an extension of my website, coptalk.com. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not here to try and grow a channel or anything. There's no strategy, there's no plan, there's nothing. We just come and talk Liverpool Football Club. And maybe sometimes videos are not really exciting. Do you know what I mean? Because your typical knob jockey casual viewer just wants to watch a 2 or 3 minute video to, you know, because they just want to know what's happening, you know, in some news, you know. And if it's not exciting enough for them, then they start crying and that. Do you know what I mean? With the grown-ups here, we get it. We know, you know, that there are people that do try and buy football clubs that might not succeed. I've not made a video saying someone's going to do this and bid that, you know. So I've made a video saying, hey, you know, someone's trying to, you know, buy the club, so to speak, or they would like to. But then I'm following it up with, but I don't think it's going to happen. You know, these content creators, they'd be doing funny emojis and thumbnails and, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, someone's trying to buy it, they make it sound all juicy and all that, you know, to cater for that adolescent fucking audience. You know what I mean? We ain't doing that around here. We're just going to talk about what's being claimed, right, and who's claiming it. And if that's not good enough for people, then fuck them. Do you know what I mean? Like, the people that have been with me since the 1990s, they know that if I'm telling them something, I either really believe in it or don't believe in it, and I always give my opinion, and I always urge you guys to form your own opinions with stuff, all right? So, any smart-ass comments, we just get rid of them. If you've ever been joking in the comments, always include an emoji, because if sometimes you read it back, you get one chance. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't unhide people when you get rid of them. There's a fault on the channel. So, right, I'll leave that with you. I don't even know what we spoke about. All right. What am I going to do now? I don't know. I don't know. Can you tell I'm unwell? I think I've done all right for that video, considering I'm unwell, actually. Right, I'll get off. If you are one of the people that appreciates my efforts and the channel and whatnot, please thumbs up the video. It'd be very much appreciated. It's what all the young kids say. Please thumbs up the video. I don't care if you subscribe or not. I mean, I'd rather you subscribe. If you're a nice person, we'd love you to be around here. But if you're one of them fucking, you know, children, we don't want you around here, to be honest with you. Yeah, but please do thumbs up if you appreciate the channel. Drop me a comment about any of the stuff that's in it. And if you want to buy me a coffee, a coffee, as we call it around here, hit the super thanks button under the video, the love heart. Read the video description. The newsletter's in there. The chat room's in there. My social media links are in there, and it's updated frequently. All right, guys. Speak to you in a bit.